Blake-mania. They wrote songs about it. Shakin' Blake.
Ken Anderson went from, the outhouse to the penthouse.
The Bengals will finish the season with a backup quarterback. Unfortunately, that has happened to every franchise at some point. And today in our Who Dey Conversations, we are going to take a look at three of the most memorable performances by a backup quarterback in Bengals history. I'm going to go first this week, and I'm turning the clock back to 1997. That year, the Bengals were struggling through 11 games. They had a record of 3-8 when they pulled Jeff Blake from the starting lineup and turned to 36-year-old Boomer Esiason, who is back with the Bengals for a last hurrah after being gone for 4 seasons. Boomer was spectacular over the final 5 games of the year. The Bengals went 4-1. He threw 13 touchdown passes, only had 2 interceptions, and had a career-best passer rating of 106.7. The last pass he ever threw in an NFL game was a 77-yard touchdown strike to Darnay Scott. Lap?
I'm going to go with Turk Schonert, the late great, God rest his soul. Turk Schonert had an unbelievable backup quarterback performance in our season opener in Cincinnati against the Seattle Seahawks in 1981. Ken Anderson, the second pass of the game, tried to hit Isaac Curtis, and it's a 29-yard pick six for the Seahawks. Later in the first quarter, Kenny has an interception about midfield. They bring it to the 37-yard line. We're behind 21-0, and Forrest Gregg says, I'm going to go to the right-hander, go into the bullpen. And Turk Schonert's first play fumbles. Seattle recovers. Our defense gets it back 2 snaps later, though. Turk settles down, and he gets him out, and he says, all right, let's go score and win this game, guys. How did we win the game with that backup quarterback? We ran it 45 times for 210 yards. Turk Schonert had 7 of those carries for 41 yards. We win that football game, come all the way back, 27-21 victory. And Ken Anderson, by the way, talk about responding to adversity. He goes on and wins AP Offensive Player of the Year, AP MVP. So you talk about a guy that bounced back. Ken Anderson went from, the outhouse to the penthouse in a matter of 1 season, and he rose to the very, very top of the league, 1981 MVP.
Butch, how about you?
Hoardy, I'm going with a guy Lap knows well, the man who Boomer replaced back in 97, Jeff Blake. But 3 years before, Jeff Blake's debut was so good, they gave it a name, Blake-mania. They wrote songs about it, Shakin' Blake. First 3 games, 247, 387, 354. That had only happened once before in yardage annals in the previous 2.5 seasons. His first 4 wins were fourth quarter comebacks. He ended up from 94, 95, 96. He won 15 games for a team that had won only 14 the previous 4 seasons. Hoardy, he went from the waiver wire to Waikiki. You talk about so many people who were responsible for building Paul Brown Stadium. Jeff Blake has to be very high on that list for what he accomplished in those 2 seasons, bringing excitement back to the franchise.
3 memorable performances by backup quarterbacks, the subject of this week's Who Dey Conversation.